My name's Laura Townshend. I am a consultant in how to use online tools to mobilise and organise people to make social change. So some of the challenges for people who are newer to using digital technology is knowing where to start. There's a huge plethora of tools and technologies to use to mobilise and organise people, and it can be really easy to over-engineer, whereas the most straightforward solutions are often the ones that help people to work with others, build power and build community. I think another challenge that really faces us is how we campaign online in a context of polarisation in Europe, in the US, and in lots of countries across the world. It means that it can be harder to change people's minds, and it means that sometimes people can be less trusting of the content that they see online. But often when you have a really solid strategy, when you've built up a reason that people can find value and purpose in working with you on your campaign, and when you make fantastic content, that can help overcome some of those challenges. And I think one of the responsibilities that we have is to support others who might be less experienced at using online tools, whether that's because they're from countries with less access to technology, or whether that's because they're of different generations. I think we can use the skills and abilities we have to support them. I think other responsibilities that we have are to maintain honesty and safety online. It's worrying to see that a lot of people are able to dismiss things that are true under the banner of fake news. And there is fake news that exists. And it's really important for people who have power in the industry of digital campaigning and who communicate content that gets seen by a lot of different people to be honest and open in their content and guard against anything that could be misleading or who could damage people's trust in politics and in really important discussions. The internet and digital technology is a non-negotiable part of modern life, and that means that I think it's a non-negotiable part of protecting human rights. It's something that most people, in some sense, interact with every day, and it's therefore an arena that we can't forget about when we're thinking about advocating and building power and building community around rights protections. So my first tip would be to build community and build a base of your supporters, because ultimately the relationship your supporters have with each other is what's going to make a campaign long-lasting and powerful. It's more powerful than the relationship your supporters have with you as the campaign lead. My second tip is to make content that is honest, truthful and authentic. That often means content that might look less beautiful and that might be less glossy and perfectly edited, but that fits in more naturally with what people see on their social media feeds and in their online life, but also feels more trustworthy and more human. And my third tip is to not be afraid and to be courageous. It's really easy to think of the internet as a kind of badlands of fake news and trolls and conflict. But the reason most digital campaigns fail isn't because of that. The reason that failing campaigns don't work is because nothing happens, because you haven't put enough, you haven't been kind of persistent enough. And for that reason, I'd really urge anyone who's thinking of running a digital campaign to be motivated and persistent and courageous, because it's not easy putting yourself out there online. But the way that all digital campaigns win is by being persistent and focused and keeping going even when you think it isn't working. So I'd encourage you to put your fears aside and think about how you can use the internet to create really positive community and to move power and win change.